Hey, welcome to the Doc Analyzes Anything, the show where science and psychology meet, and we analyze any and every behavior, including pumpkin spice everything.
Who
Discuss.
analyzes any and every behavior?
We do.
We do.
Do. That
We
was a
do.
hard emphasis on the we. We.
You want
Cool
me to
whip.
say? You
Cool
want me to
whip.
say you do?
No, just you just hit the we real hard, so I had to make fun of you.
Like
All
the
right,
I'm always
pumpkin
hitting the we
spice.
hard.
As long as it like reminds me of a pumpkin pie and not just like raw spices. Because sometimes it just tastes like raw spices.
Yeah, me and Steve kind of had this conversation a little bit last weekend in regards to like the pumpkin beers. I really do enjoy pumpkin beer, so kind of a slight stray from the latte, but it's really good until it's just way too much of the allspice. Then it's
Yeah, see, I don't like the pumpkin beers. I can't do the pumpkin beer.
I don't mind it as long as there are very few I actually like, but when they're done well, I like them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're a niche thing for sure. It's like my banana beers. They're not all great, but when they're good, they're great.
There's like
I'm not
two
like a boring beer guy, but I don't like with the raspberries and the pumpkin and the banana. No way.
That's just because you live too far away to try the good ones with us.
I have banana coffee right now.
What does that mean? What do you mean you have banana coffee?
The notes, quote unquote, is banana and raspberry and chocolate.
The banana notes?
Banana notes, yes. So then, is your alcohol, your beer choice? Do you like some like Coors Banquet if you're feeling fancy, or like a Miller High Life kind of guy?
So I'm offended by the connotation that just because I don't like banana beer, that I'd be a Miller High Life kind of guy.
No, he's going basically off your hat and your facial hair, not your comment.
Oh no! If we're going based off of his appearance right now, he's looking for a cheap 40.
That's not true. That's not true.
I took it from hipster. You went just straight, not doing too well. He's struggling here.
Well, no, if he was hipster, he'd like the raspberry.
Am I hipster?
No, but the look, the hat with the beard looks like you're going hipster on me. That's what I'm saying.
It's cold outside, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Kyle, I'll be honest. Everything that I see you wear, I do take you as like a little. You're more hipstery than I am by how you dress.
Well, thank you. Hipstery is a good adjective.
Is this like, so I had a friend in grad school once who decided one day, maybe he was under the influence of something smokable, who knows, but he was decided that we were
banana flavored.
Yeah, banana flavored pot. He decided that we were all hippies, but we were different. Like one guy was like a sports hippie, one guy was like hippie, one guy was like, and I was like thug nasty hippie. I'm like, there's nothing about me that says like hippie. I don't know what you're talking about, but sure.
Let's
so I feel like that's where this
together.
discussion's
what's
going.
Sports hippie mean?
Because he wore like basketball shorts with his tie-dye shirt every day. So that one actually kind of fit a little bit, but I feel like that's where Brad was going down. This is like, we're just going to start rating people based on their hipsterness.
So what is judging people based on their appearance?
Yes. Yeah. Being judgmental is really what we're seeing here.
Are you asking me what my favorite beer is? What my favorite type of beer is?
Yeah. Because
I love a good farmhouse ale or some sort of like Belgian. I like a good Belgian ale. And I do like a good IPA. I know that's a very hipster thing to say.
Yeah, I was about to say it also screams hipster with your outfit.
My 40-year-old self can't handle the IPAs very well anymore. Like I just get sick to my stomach, but I do enjoy the taste.
Okay. So do you like?
And I'm not sorry about it. I'm not sorry about it either.
So we're like 5 minutes in and just talking about. We're like 5 minutes in, like, to beer talk here. Should we tell people what we're actually doing, or like, I'd love to just talk about beer, but that's not what this episode's about.
This talk can help with what our topic is today.
Oh yeah. Maybe I could be
I,
a better Daredevil.
yeah, you're gonna hold my beer type situation.
Mm-hmm.
Hold my beer. Hold my Trappist ale.
Yeah.
Uh, so I guess we've let the cat out of the bag here. Today we're talking about Daredevils. I am your host, Dr. Steven Sparks, along with my always co-host Kyle Suri and our sometimes most of the time co-host Brad Big Wheel Clemens here. Um, Big Wheel just felt like fitting, but also that's not offensive, is it? To say Big
No, you've
Wheel?
used that one before, I think.
Oh,
Why
I don't
big
think
wheel?
so. I don't
I think
know.
you
I've just heard like it's actually Chad who joins us sometimes too. I've heard him be like, "Hey, slow down there, Big Wheel," like it was like condescending somehow, and I'm like, I don't know how that's offensive, but I feel like it fits here because I picture Brad trying to ride his big wheel down a giant ramp or something like that. So
That's cute, Brad. I like it.
the big wheel is like the old like electric like plastic car thing, right? Was that the
no,
big
no, no,
wheel?
no. Big wheel is like the sit
Wow.
down. You're sitting like down on the ground. There's the two little back wheels and the one real big wheel with the pedals on it that you go real fast.
Hmm.
You know, like the
Oh yeah, no, we had a big wheel growing up.
yeah,
That thing was fun.
I was gonna
yeah.
say, is this an 80s kid thing or
No,
I
well
definitely
maybe,
had
but
one
I
in the
did have one.
'90s.
yeah.
Kyle,
Uh
I
did you
don't.
have one in the
I
60s?
I like that he's
I
like 3 months older than me, but go with it. Just run away with that all you want.
Well, because you'd said something, I was like, ah, the opportunity's here. I was being
it, it's
devilish, if
fine.
you will.
It's fine. It's fine. I dare you to do it again.
Mm.
From 300 miles away.
Yes.
Um, so talking about Daredevils, like it seemed like it's too easy to just say, yeah, well, some people do it for attention. Some people do it for money, for fame. Some do it for the adrenaline rush, and like then we'd be done, and there'd be nothing to talk about. It'd be boring.
Mm.
So instead, I thought we'd talk about some famous Daredevils and kind of what brought them to doing what they did. But then we'll try to sprinkle in a little bit about why some everyday people may do these things without searching for fame, I guess, really, like some others did. So, to get started, are you both Daredevils?
No, we just,
Um,
I won't even approach people in a bar. So no.
yeah. I think I was as a kid. I mean, as far as like kid things go, not today, but I did like I would ride my bike with down the hill and hit the ramp.
Yeah.
We put fireworks behind the bike, like spray fireworks, taped it onto the bike, and fired those off behind it while we went off.
Did you set up your ramp like just the cinder block with a piece of plywood?
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah,
So that's what I
yeah.
did too. But I was waiting for the day that I was gonna have a Napoleon Dynamite moment going off the ramp.
Doesn't it just fall flat?
No, well, he starts to go, and then once he hits the ramp, the plyboard snaps, and so then he just like gets thrown
Uh,
into the handlebars. And
That happened a lot. It rarely did we actually support it enough where it wouldn't just like slide or move as we're going off of it.
I remember
I
distinctly making one that was like, I was like, it's fun going high. I'm going to make one that goes really high. And so just putting a bunch of like
yeah.
anything I can get my hands of, like cinder blocks, lumber, plywood, things like that underneath it. And I went so high that got airborne and lost control and just landed like kind of on my face on the handlebars and crashed out.
We crashed a lot. There was a lot
Yeah,
of scrapes and maybe some broken bones, but I don't know if that was coordinated enough to be a true Daredevil. Like I really wanted to be a Daredevil. Like there was like
right.
my friend next door and like he had a rough life, lived hard, died young sort of thing. Uh but even as like little kids, he'd be like jumping off the roof. And like
Oh yeah.
I'm like I'll like get up there and like dangle my feet and then like slowly squirm down, then like hold on the edge and just like drop. So I'm only actually dropping like 4 feet. And he'd just be like cannonball and like just roll and take off running. And I'm like, yeah, I just logically that doesn't make sense to me. And so I can't do that.
Did he do it out of like lack of knowledge, lack of understanding, or
Yeah.
about what, or lack of experiencing that consequence of pain, or did he not care?
So I was
It
going to ask about in that another piece of this, or was he doing it for the attention part of it, to where
There was
he
definitely
where
some
you're
attention,
impressed by
and
he's
like
done?
Yeah.
negative attention from his family was very reinforcing. Attention
Mm.
from the rest of the kids was very reinforcing. Maybe there was some thrill to it, but I don't know. He was also the one that like would eat there was like random like peas growing on the fence, and like we don't know who planted them there, but it was there before I was born. And like he'd eat them, and I went into my mom, and she's like calling poison control to see if he's gonna die. You know, I mean, like there was very little planning or thought behind the action, but it
Mm.
definitely was due to the reaction, I do believe. Um,
Now
maybe
that's
some
different than
adrenaline too.
modern day Daredevils. There's a lot of planning, a lot of
Well,
intention.
yeah, as we
Yeah.
go through it too, like looking at something, like we'll go more into depth, but like Evel Knievel, he failed maybe as much as he succeeded, broke things all the
Really?
time. And the modern day people, you'll still have severe injuries, but like
Hmm.
they are really testing, and there's physics involved, math involved. Whereas he was just setting stuff up and jumping off of things. You know what I mean? Like
Man.
it's
Well,
wild.
one I'm curious your guys' take on this in comparison to someone like Evil Knievel, but the people of like Jackass, so like Johnny Knoxville, would you deem him a daredevil in a way, or what would you put him as?
I think so.
So
Yeah,
I
I mean,
don't think
they were
so, but
doing
or is it,
it's all going to depend on your definition. Like they were doing very daring things that could end up with severe injury. So there was a daredevil aspect, but theirs was more like cringe comedy with like
Yeah.
stupidity, and it was, I'm sure, planned, and I'm sure there was calculated risk, and they weren't putting themselves in harm's way as much as it seemed like they were. But I was going to talk about it at the end, but like Nitro Circus with Travis Pastrana, like that was almost the same show, except there was much less cringe humor and like nothing but huge air giant risks. You know what I mean? And
What
so,
is Nitro Circus? I don't know what that is.
oh, you
they
missed
were
out. Like it was
also,
only on
yeah.
TV for 2 years, but they're still doing, I think, traveling, and like it was just the world's like the biggest stunts they could figure out. Like
But all
bought
of
a
them rode motocross or BMX or skateboarders, but they were like actually like professionals at this kind of stuff,
yeah,
not like going
and
off the
so
cuff jackass
yeah, so
guys.
they started off. Travis Pastrana started off in motocross, and then like went into X Games doing the freestyle from there, and then built this career on just being a daredevil after having already made it in extreme sports in other ways. And so it kind of was like a natural progression. But this show was, all right, we're gonna buy a full size true monster truck that we're gonna do in like monster truck series later, but then just spend a week trying to do a backflip with it. And they succeeded at one point. Um, they just set up like, all right, we're gonna ride motorcycles off cliffs. We're gonna do skydiving. Um, the number of times, like you wouldn't think it was possible, but just flying across a lake on a dirt bike to see how far across you get before it started to sink. It's much farther than you'd think. Um,
His spine separated from his pelvis in an accident when he was 14 years old. He was trying to land a jump, came up short, and decelerated from 50 to 0 miles per hour in less than a second.
yeah, and
What are you
I
laughing
think
at?
that tells you the main difference between him and
I
I
mean,
is I'm like, I'm gonna go off of this 2 foot jump, and like it's gonna be scary enough for me. And he's like, no, I'm gonna do something that could literally separate my spine from my pelvis.
Well, and I remember in the one of the first episodes where you're still learning the people on the show, pretty much everyone described Travis as somebody that they're like, oh, like, can you do this? And he's like, I don't know, but like, I'll I'll try it. Why not?" And then everyone said, "Travis might not know how to do this, but give him a day and he'll probably be better than you."
Yeah. So that's like modern day. There's obviously a tension aspect, but it's very clear, like from a very young age, he was into it. He turned pro in motocross at the age of 18. From there, went in the X Games doing the freestyle, like the tricks and the jumps and stuff on the dirt bike. Went into rally racing. Drove some of the smaller NASCAR circuits at one point. Became a professional monster truck driver at one point. Like he
Man,
just had a natural progression of like, what's the next extreme thing I can do that's going to keep life interesting is almost what it like felt like, and I can make a ton of money while doing it. He almost like when you hear him talk to you, he almost has that like Ryan Reynolds, like super friendly, like you could run into a street and he would just be your friend type of personality as well. And so it wasn't
aw,
to be boastful, but it probably was still a large attention component. But he also became very wealthy by doing it as well.
he sounds like a dream.
I mean, that's how they make him seem on TV. You know, who knows how he is in real life, but uh he
Yeah,
also
totally.
played tribute to like Evel Knievel and did all of his massive jumps. Um, and at least as of 2010 had the world record for the longest ramp to ramp car jump at 269 feet, which is pretty
Whoa.
crazy.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's 269 feet, you said?
Yep. That was I remember watching that. It was like live TV in his Subaru like rally racing car.
That's crazy. So, I mean, just even more so thinking about it like in a comparison to a football field,
Yeah.
but that's 90 yards. That's
Yeah. It's
absurd. Like
almost a football
Yeah.
field.
imagine the height and the speed that it would need to keep a car in the air that long.
Yeah. I'm not sure, but I think he may have also been involved in doing like the real version of the loop the loop thing, like with the what is it? What are the little cars that we have with the matchbox cars, but the
Oh, like Hot Wheels?
Hot Wheels, like the Hot Wheel orange
Mhm.
loop. I think they recreated it. And I think it might have been him that he like drove his car through the loop too, which is pretty
Oh,
sweet.
wow. This
So
guy's way cooler than me.
oh yeah, I could never be that cool, but I also would probably have too much sense to ever be that cool. Um, so since we've all jumped to the very end of what I was going to talk about, how about we go back to the beginning now? Thanks,
What were you
thanks,
gonna talk about,
gents.
Johnny Knoxville?
Yeah, for some reason I went chronological with my notes, and we don't have to go chronological, but it just for some reason made sense to me. So, I went back and like, all right, where did being a Daredevil start? You know what I mean? Like, who is the first famous Daredevil? And I was a little bit surprised because I'm sure people have been doing this for all of human history. You know what I mean? Like jumping off of things, although you need a certain level of technology to go bigger and bigger each time.
Right.
Um, like
Mhm.
couldn't
So
even
how
make
are
the
we
frame for the
defining
car in the Bronze Age. But
a daredevil? Like death defying things? Because in theory, then could you take some like old like magician or escape artist? Were they like the original daredevils?
um, I was gonna bring up Houdini and see what your opinions were. Like he is definitely listed when you look up Daredevils as a daredevil, but because magic isn't real and it seems to be a much more
Uh,
calculated
Yeah, I was about
hang
to say
on.
Steve, easy.
it's a much more calculated risk. I don't know that he was ever actually in danger during most of his tricks. You know what I mean? Like the air was dangerous. It was supposed to seem dangerous, but I don't know that he was ever in a situation where like submerged underwater in a locked case that he was ever really in danger of being injured. And maybe he was, maybe he wasn't, but it doesn't
Mhm.
seem like the same thing as jumping a car across a football field to me.
Yeah.
But everybody else considers it to be similar. And so, I mean, we could probably go either way on that. Uh, looking though, like early on, I'm thinking maybe it's because newspapers didn't really become widely available and popular until like the early 1800s. But the earliest I could find just doing internet searches and looking at encyclopedias, that sort of thing, was like maybe the Flying Walindas, starting in the 1780s. It's just like, the acrobats, but still it is a calculated thing that's kind of like your profession. But at the same time, several members of the family did die over the years because they didn't use nets, and accidents do happen. So there is more of
They were
a air of that.
trapeze artists,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
But when I found potentially the first one really that made a living off of just taking risks and being well known for taking risks, and we don't have to talk about just people, who make a living off of it. I think anybody that does cliff jumping or free climbing where no ropes, you're just probably climbing up the face of a mountain in general is a daredevilish thing. But the ones that use no safety net, no safety harness, they're just going for it, to me, is a whole nother level. But the first person that became famous for doing this sort of thing was, and I'm probably gonna butcher this, but Andre Jacques Garnier. It's French, so say that in a French accent, and that's how you say it.
Sounds right.
But he was, as a young man, studied physics, became an inspector for the French army in 1793, and he was encouraging the French army to use, I think they were hydrogen at the time, but basically hot air balloons for military maneuvers. And through his time doing this in his work, he redesigned or helped design and had the first official known use of a parachute. And so
Nice.
I guess that's not
Imagine being the first guy where you're like, this is a parachute. This is what it's gonna do. Imagine that feeling when you pull that cord.
Well, and to be fair, so I was looking it up, because then I started wondering, went down the rabbit hole. The first known parachute design, just in writing, like published, was 1470. And within a few years after that, actually, Da Vinci came out with his own version that was a little bit more thought out than that very first drawing.
Was the
But
first
you're
one
talking what?
Was the first one
Yeah.
like a bed sheet that you just hold up?
It was kind of it looked like a strange umbrella thing with like wood structures that you just held on to. There was no straps or anything. It was just but you're
It
talking
says that
three.
it says Andre
Steve,
was
you're
the
not gonna get the
first.
chat.
It
You don't
says
get to
Andre
talk
was
with
the
me, Steve.
first parachute jump. I'm trying to say a fact here. Andre was the first parachute jump ever.
So hold on a second, and I'll tell you why it's not clear, because looking through different encyclopedias, yeah, he is credited with being the first real true parachute jump, but it was designed 300 years earlier, and just nobody tested it. So yeah, imagine being the first one to do it. Well, like, yeah, that's how long it took for someone to finally say, yeah, sure, let's give it a shot. So the first, what we consider like the modern parachute, was designed in 1783 by Louis Sebastian Lemeret. I don't know. I didn't write that down right. Hold on a second. Well, I erased part of a word and then started. What really happened is I had a 4-year-old sitting next to me as I was writing this, and he started reaching over and typing on the keypad as I was doing it.
You didn't fix it.
I thought I fixed it, but obviously I did not.
He went back when you were asleep.
Yeah.
Aeronaut is a word. Aeronaut is a traveler in a hot air
Yes.
balloon, airship, or flying craft.
Where did that come from?
Isn't that what you're trying to read?
No, the guy's name, Louis Sebastian.
Oh, just kidding.
Steve, come on.
Hold on, you'll fix it. Hold on.
Louis Sebastian.
It's Louis
You're what the French
Sebastian.
call les
Les
incompetents.
incompetents. Lenormand. So yeah. So Louis Sebastian Lenormand was credited 1783 with inventing the modern parachute, which was just kind of like combined a few large umbrellas, and supposedly claimed that he tested at one point, but really the only thing that can be confirmed is he jumped out of like a tree using this and like showed, oh, yep, it slowed my descent. You know what I mean? And so some people say he said later on he was sick, dying, and he jumped off a balloon in this thing to test it. But nobody actually has any record of it. Nobody saw it. And if you didn't see it, then it didn't happen. So, but Garnian, gave his first exhibition in this thing, jumping from 3,000 feet out of a balloon. You know what I mean? So he really was the first to go for it, whether or not someone else did it or not.
Well,
And that was
in
a
a hydrogen balloon,
Worth it.
in a hydrogen balloon, you're kind of like, at some point, I mean, it's not going down.
Yeah.
Gonna do or
So
die.
yeah, and he had like a basket attached to it, so it was almost like a hot air balloon mixed with a parachute at that point.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, so the first one was at 3,000 feet, and then after that, people started getting kind of excited about what he was doing, and it turned into a career, just him traveling the world, jumping out of balloons with his parachute. So
That's amazing.
a few
What
years
was his
later,
demise?
actually, I think 2 years later, his wife started doing it as well. She was the first woman to jump out of or use a parachute, jump out of a balloon, and then his biggest jump was 8,000 feet. A few years after his
Whoa.
initial jump. So,
What is? Do we know modern day like skydiving? What height they go to?
I know I'm pretty sure it's in like the 10, 15,000. I don't know if you like how high you can go where the oxygen level and the temperature drops too much. But then there was
Between 8 and 14.
8 and 14. But then
Average
Baumgartner
being 10.
broke the world record where he went so high that he had to be basically in that spacesuit, and you could
Yeah.
see the curvature of Earth. He just like tumbled for like minutes as he went down, which is crazy. He just passed away, by the way. So
Oh, really?
no more jumping
Was
from
he?
space.
How old was he?
Not too old. I think he was injured in a stunt actually, but I can't remember for sure. I just saw it the other day.
Did
But
they
yeah, so
shroud him
imagine
in a parachute? Is it too soon?
probably.
I'll stop.
So this first jump, 8,000 feet, and a white canvas parachute that was umbrella shaped and 23 feet across, and he just jumped from 8,000 feet. And then he died in 1823 testing a new design that he had come up with. So that's probably a fairly normal pattern that we see with a lot of these firsts and Daredevils in general as well.
Early graves.
So looking at like this first instance, at least that we know for sure about, it became a money-making endeavor. It became maybe to sell parachutes to different countries around the world, but it seems like it was a lot for the fame and the money eventually. But early on, he started doing this seemingly because he was trying to help the military that he was working for. And so compared to some of the others that we'll talk about where it seemed like the excitement of the action itself what drew them into these activities at a young age, this person's motivation really was just part of their career until it became bigger than that.
Now, the first airplanes weren't until like the 1900s, right?
Yeah, the Wright brothers were, I want to say like 1912, 1914, but I think it was maybe a little earlier than that.
Did they plan on just using balloons to like for military purposes to drop in that way?
So my knowledge of it is kind of like they were going to float over and drop bombs or drop supplies, that sort of thing. Like it wasn't necessarily maneuvers. Can you imagine like pilots going at each other in balloons.
Yeah.
Just like, I know they were hydrogen, but I just imagine this like pulling hard on the thing and then like letting it go and trying to fly down slowly and then pulling hard on it again. You know what I mean? Like, also, I don't know if I mentioned it on here before, but are you aware that I have flown solo in hot air balloon before?
A solo flight.
Oh, 1903
No.
was the Wright brothers with their flyer anyways, so it was earlier
Okay.
than I was thinking. Yeah, and so it's interesting because it depends on your perspective, depends on how much of a daredevil someone is. You know what I mean? If you are like Brad and some other members of his family, you don't like heights. My going up a 30-foot ladder to fix something on the roof at the lake house was death defying compared to most people would be like, oh yeah, you just went up a ladder. You know, what is it? And so if you have been in a hot air balloon, this may not be exciting because it wasn't truly me flying it solo. It was a solo tethered flight, which basically we went on a hot air balloon ride. It landed in someone's yard that they said get on my yard. And so I got to control the height as everybody else guided it over to a yard that was more friendly. But
Still though.
technically, I was the only one in there controlling the ascent and descent of the hot air balloon. And so if you have any comfortability with flying a hot air balloon, that's completely unimpressive. But for all you ground dwellers down there, that's kind of a big deal. You know what I mean?
I mean, I've never done that.
No,
Have you
Did it
been in a
make you feel
hot
like a
air
big?
balloon, Kyle? I haven't.
No, no, I won't.
You
Too
wouldn't do
much of
it?
a fear of the basket bottoming out.
it wasn't. I did not feel like a big deal, but I felt like I was definitely going to use that to sound like I was a big deal. You know what I mean? Like truth, like two truths and a lie was going to be my game after that for sure.
How does one
How do you
get
phrase it that you
roped into that?
So I had always wanted to go on a hot air balloon ride. It just seemed really cool. And one day I like looked it up and decided we took my whole family, my mom, my dad, my wife, this is before kids, and my aunt. We all just piled in a couple different balloons actually because we joined other people as well. And it is a very interesting experience. It seems much less shaky. You'd think that there's like movement while you're up there, that it feels kind of squirrely, and it feels very solid as you're flying. There is no gust swaying you and things like that. You're just moving as a solid unit, so it feels solid while you're in the air. But there is no control. It's up and down, and that is it. And then you're just trying to time your down based on finding an area open enough. And then yeah, the landing can be a little suspect. You know what I mean? Like it comes in, you have to like try to get maybe behind some trees or a wind block so you're not tipping too much. There's a little bouncing here and there. We ended up in that person's yard and they just had it seated and they're like, no, get out of here. And so that is why the guys, hey, you comfortable pulling that? I'm like, I'll pull the hell out of that rope. I don't care. And so everybody walked me over as I was doing that.
Nice. No,
Yeah.
I've never done it before. I think I would, but I'm not a huge fan of heights either, so I don't know.
Heights don't bother me. It's the fall that would worry me a little bit, but that's what I'm kind of saying is there is no
And
risk
that makes
of
sense.
yeah. There is no risk of falling, but there is a risk of the landing being a little squirrely, a little rough. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, at the heart of it, isn't that the fear of heights?
Yeah, I was being a smartass.
Yeah, I was about to say, Steve, come on now.
It's not so much here or here, but right there.
You're
It's
scared for
not
the
here or here. It's just right in here. For those of you who can't see it, I was doing the old Tommy Boy line. So,
Oh, we saw.
all right. So, another early example was Charles Blondin or Blondin, another French gentleman. It seems like the French were just bigger risk takers than the rest of the world early on. I'm not sure. Well, he was famous for being at first an acrobat in like the trapeze arts, but then became really famous later on for being a very high tightrope walker, like all over the world. They just set it up. He was actually the first to cross over. You always hear it was the what the hell, Niagara Falls. So
Oh yeah.
you always hear he was the first to do the tightrope walk over the Niagara Falls, but really it was just below the falls, the gorge, because otherwise you'd only be like 20 feet over the water. It wouldn't be as impressive as being over the huge hole on the other side of the falls,
On the whole, it's all Home Alone today. All Home Alone.
We watch that almost weekly in our house, so just the kids love it.
There's a great documentary on the Walker, or what's his name that you just said, right? The
Charles Blondin or Blondin, Blondini.
Blondin Blodin.
Yeah.
Walking over the falls.
And he ended up walking over things all over the world, redid the falls several times, doing different acts. So at one time he was blindfolded, one time he was pushing a wheelbarrow, one time he crossed it on stilts.
Oh yeah.
At one time with his manager on his back. One time he put a chair down and balanced on one leg of the chair on this 3-inch wide rope. But the most interesting one to me is supposedly he walked halfway across, sat down, cooked an omelet, ate it, and then continued his walk across.
Didn't he take a member of the
That is so
audience once too?
impressive. Go ahead, Kyle. Sorry.
Maybe. I say if he took a member of the audience, I didn't read that, but maybe he had his manager acting like a member of the audience too.
Okay, that's true.
Brad, what'd you say?
Oh, I just said, like, this is just impressive. I mean, a lot of things do impress me in this world because I'm so like simple with a lot of things, but that, like, my gosh,
I'm
like,
glad you said it because I didn't want to have to.
Just simple.
yeah.
But I just want to know, did it taste good? You know what I mean? Like, is he a good cook too, or how's that? Like, that'd be the hard thing. Imagine getting out there and you have to eat this thing in front of everybody. It just tastes horrible, and you're like gagging it down.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I forgot the salt. Gotta go back.
Yeah. Can someone bring me some onion, please?
There's no fresh cracked pepper here. What am I doing?
I want to know, like, what was, is a hot plate? How did you power it? Like, how much did he actually have to carry out there to perform this feat? And what did he put it on? Was it burning his hand? Like, I don't know.
It's true. Yeah. How does that even happen?
But so he actually he retired and then came out of retirement at one point, and he did his last tightrope walk high above something. I can't remember what it was. I think it was in France though. The year before he died at the age of 72. So like this was just a lifelong thing for this guy. But his story is interesting because he, his dad was an acrobat or a gymnast, I think it said. He became interested in acrobatics after seeing a live tightrope walker at a circus at, I think, 4 or 5 years old. And his dad was so supportive that he sent him away to train as an acrobat at the age of 5.
Whoa.
Like, you want to do that? Cool, go do it. And supposedly he got good enough that he was involved in shows within 6 months of starting.
At 5 years old.
Yeah.
Dang. That is wild.
Now, unfortunately,
that's impressive at 5.
I could dunk easily at 5. No, I don't know. I was like probably just practicing trying to do wheelies like 6 inches off the ground in my driveway at 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did nothing at 5.
It's kind of amorphous blob sitting there using up resources.
Just waste of air, really.
The morale's low here, guys.
I'm sure you are adorable, though.
Thank you, Kyle.
We'll ask your sister. She'll tell us the truth. Unfortunately, his father passed away when he was only 9, and that was his only, guardian. And so, in order to support himself and survive, he had to start performing professionally at the age of 9 years old. And so, he was,
Oh,
trying to remember. I think in his 20s by the time he made that first big leap from just being in part like a circus show to doing. I think there was maybe one performance in New York City, and then you know what we're doing? We're taking it across Niagara Falls here, and 1,100 feet long and 160 feet above the water. That was like his first jump out of just doing it inside, a circus tent or something like that.
whew,
Is wild.
man.
So
Yeah.
he really didn't have a choice but to rely on this skill that he had been working on, even though it seemed to be kind of his dream, even at a very young age, because he just had to find a way to survive when nobody was there to take care of him at 9.
Do you think he got paid for walking across the Niagara Falls, or was it just like a publicity thing?
I'm trying to remember. I think it was mostly publicity, but maybe he brought some people in. He became quite famous and wealthy afterwards because of everybody paying attention. But we're talking, this was 1859, and so there was no camera recording here. There was maybe a newspaper article and drew people out, some word of
Hmm.
mouth, but it was, I'm sure, more the stories afterwards that really drew the crowds for his future performances.
Hey, I mean,
You,
what you're saying is this man was like the classic. You have what is it? Nothing to lose, but everything to gain.
yeah.
Yeah. And
So
so
that's got to help
you,
the fear that he would be feeling with everything.
He made a fortune from ticket sales, sponsorships, and exhibitions.
yeah, he just went all over the world walking in high things, like from one side of one something to another. Like that was just all he did at that point afterwards. But going back to the 1,100 feet long, so now you're talking 3 2/3 football field on a 3-inch rope with winds blowing. Like that seems tiresome.
Yeah.
And that's what's interesting too, is both of these first examples are things that people kind of do regular basis just for fun too. Like people go skydiving all the time now. I mean, it's not everybody's cup of tea. I'd love to go skydiving. I just haven't gotten the chance, and now I have young children. I'll probably wait till they can survive a little better without me before I do it. But uh and they're like, sure, I don't have the balance or the stamina to walk on a 3-inch rope 1,100 feet, but I've done zip lining before, and like it's safer, but it's the same sort of thing.
There's a
Wait,
behavioral analysis for you. So here's the behavioral analysis.
Yeah.
I could walk up I could stand on a cinder block and look down 6 inches and feel not a thing, do it no problem. But if that same cinder block were the edge of a tall building, it's technically the same physical features that I'm working with, just a lot greater risk of punishment if there's error. But I should be able to stand on the edge of a building and not feel anything because I know how to stand on the edge of something. But I get weak looking at windows that
So
high.
think about. I think the real question would be, if you didn't know there was danger there, would you feel that way? Would another
Right.
primate without verbal behavior, they probably would feel no fear on the edge of that. Now they're used to swinging from trees. It's been many a year
Yeah.
since humans were doing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But there's a good chance that it is just that fear response. I know that this is dangerous, and it depends on what a person perceives as dangerous and the competing contingency of like the attention, the adrenaline rush versus the probability of severe injury or death. And
Yeah.
so if you have like a big time fear of heights, you probably have a misconstrued vision of how dangerous it really is compared to like me going up on that ladder 30 feet up that's already on like a 15-foot deck, and it looks dangerous, but I know that there's little chance of me actually getting injured doing that.
Right.
But for someone that's afraid of that, the likelihood of injury is probably much higher. But there is something potentially biological about that feeling that you get, like you start getting dizzy and kind of wobbly when you're looking over
Say,
the edge.
Yeah.
'Cause
I always heard about the invisible push or the invisible hand that I can. The idea with being afraid of heights is you can feel that pressure on your backside, like putting you towards danger, where it's like all imaginative, but like
Mm.
it's as if like it's there.
I think the actual feeling of a push is probably has to do with verbal behavior and learning experiences, but the dizziness and the feeling of discomfort could be, physiological, biological. I'm not sure. I haven't looked
Yeah.
much into that. I think it's also interesting that every once in a while, if I'm up high on something like that, like it's not a strong enough urge to actually do it, but I have had the urge to just like jump before, and not because it's like a suicidal thing or I want to be hurt. It is just like almost that same feeling, that dizziness, like I might fall, except it's like just go fly. You know what I mean? It's weird.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't be able to fly, I don't think. But
No, I can barely float. How am I gonna fly?
But
Um,
not to jump back
you're
to it, but one thing I wanted to bring up as just a quick like 10-second thing. I want to know how for the Niagara Falls walk, how did they set up the rope? 3 2/3 football field. How did they put one rope from one side to the other?
probably use boats above where the river was before the falls, and then just walked it down to the other end. But I don't know.
See, I'm now pissed that I asked it because I didn't know it was gonna be that simple. I'm gonna see myself out.
you can start walking across it as long as you hold the other. You can tie one end to a tree, then just hold the other end tight, and then you can just kind of
Cut
walk
that.
and like
Just cut
give
that
it.
part.
Someone just stripped Tarzan down and across. That's all they
There's
did.
no
They climbed up
recovery
the
from
other
this
side.
one, Kyle. Please take this out.
No, it's staying. It's staying. Uh,
Uh,
um, going back to like the examples of like people doing this on a regular basis, one ropes course slash zip line we did, like you had a harness on, but you have a rope above your head, one below your feet, you're 20 feet above the ground, and you have to like walk
mhm.
from one platform to the next to do the next zip line. And so it is something that we seem to emulate, and probably that is why people that are jumping out of airplanes and doing high wire acts might draw a crowd if you're nearby, but they're not drawing the newspaper and TV attention like they did before, because it's become something that you could almost do, but much more safely. And so it doesn't seem as exciting.
Yeah, the element of death is removed from the equation.
So, another interesting case, since we're already on the topic of Niagara Falls, have you ever heard of Annie Edson Taylor?
Is that the barrel person?
Yep. So, little background, she was a teacher. She lost her husband, her young son, infant son, and then soon after her husband died. And she never remarried, was struggling to make ends meet years later, moved to Bay City, Michigan to start a dance school because there wasn't a dance school in town, and it didn't work out. She moved to Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan to be, it was I think it was a music teacher. I wrote down dance again, but I'm pretty sure it was a music teacher. That didn't work out. Moved to San Antonio for work, tried going to Mexico City with a friend for work. Nothing was working. Things were getting dire, and so she decided she was going to go over the falls in a barrel. So they created a
As one
steel.
as one does.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, things are looking bleak. What else am I going to do? I'm going to go over the falls in a
Yeah.
barrel.
Yeah.
So a wood and iron barrel, and they just padded it with a mattress. I climbed inside, grabbed her favorite heart-shaped pillow, they said, put the lid on, used a bicycle pump to fill it with as much air as possible, both for buoyancy and for breathing. And then they just
Hmm.
tossed her in the water, and down she went. And when they got on the other side, I think they said it took something like 20 minutes to get to her. All she had was a bit of a gash on the forehead. Otherwise, she was fine.
Did she accidentally survive this?
No, this was a stunt because she thought she was going to get wealthy. And she was able to do some speaking engagements, but had some other bad luck. Like her manager ended up stealing the barrel, and then she spent all her money suing to get it back, just to have it stolen by her next manager as well. And
Jeez,
so
rough times.
it was
Where is
actually,
this barrel at nowadays? Is it in a
I don't know.
museum?
What's wild to think about though is I can't imagine the toll on my body at almost 40. And she did this on her 63rd birthday.
Mm,
And
jeez.
then struggled to survive still for another 19 years until she passed away. So unfortunately, she did not become famous. Well, she became famous. She didn't become wealthy due to this, but she said afterwards, like, if someone had a cannonball aimed at my chest and I had to choose between getting shot with a cannonball and doing that again, I would choose the cannonball. Like, nobody should ever do this. Like, it was
Whoa.
not fun. So she didn't do it because she liked the thrill. She didn't do it because, she grew up doing these sort of things. This was like a last ditch effort just to survive.
Yeah.
And it worked out well enough for a short period of time, but she still ended up not doing too well afterwards. So
What a wild thing. Like, things aren't going so well. I've lived all over the country. No job is keeping me. I think I'm gonna try and float over one of the biggest waterfalls in the world in a barrel.
and
Because
I'm sure others. What's that?
how tall is Niagara Falls?
You make me look stuff up.
All right.
It's not the tallest waterfall in the world, but it's one of the most powerful, right?
I don't know. I have to contribute something to this podcast, so I'll just interject with stupid questions.
Horseshoe Falls, which is the part she went off of, is 188 feet high.
So not the tallest one in the
Light
world.
work for a barrel.
Yeah. And I'm it is strange to think, like, how did that become the idea? That's the thing that I wonder the most. Like, all the things I could try to do. I mean, robbing a bank seems like having a higher likelihood of success, but maybe she's like, hey, if I die, at least I don't have to suffer anymore. And so,
Yeah.
because I believe it had been tried multiple times without success, and then she was the first one to survive it, but I might be wrong
Oh,
there.
they died? Oh, man.
I do believe so. I mean, I know several people have gone over the years. I wasn't going to mention it because it's going to upset some people, but she tried it like a few days before with her cat, and it just
Oh,
had
man.
some cuts and bruises. And so she thought, well, if my cat survived it, then I'll be fine too, I guess. I don't know. I wonder if
The
she gave it the
logic.
heart-shaped pillow.
It used one of its 9 lives, and that ate up 3 of them.
Yeah. So the last example I had written down, since again you made me go out of order, was
I
our
didn't
good
get to-
old friend. You
Don't
forced
put
me.
that on me.
You forced me. Our old friend Evel Knievel here. Just because I think even today he's got to be the most famous Daredevil of all time. I mean, and that has a lot to do, I think, with the fact that CBS's Wide World of Sports did full specials on some of his jumps. But looking into his background was interesting because he was born in a mining town in Butte, Montana. And they said the town was kind of just known as having this attitude where, like, the men are going to work hard and play even harder. It was just the Wild West still. He was born in 1938. Basically, the idea was there weren't really any rules, according to this is coming from his official website, and so
Does he
hopefully
still
what's that?
nothing?
Does he still run it? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it was me being a smartass.
Yeah. So his kind of goes back to early childhood as well, where age of 8, he went and saw Auto Daredevil show. Didn't really make a decision to do that, but he was known for flying around town, doing crazy things, and just acting wild in general. Riding his bike around town as a kid, doing big jumps and tricks that he could do with the bikes of those days. I know nowadays they're set up to actually do some of those things, but back then they were not. And he was always in trouble with the law at a young age. He actually developed the name Evel Knievel instead of Robert or Bobby, which was his birth name. He was involved in a police chase in 1956, crashed his motorcycle, and was taken to jail for reckless driving. And the jailer came around to do roll call, and the person in the cell next to him was a troublemaker named William Knievel. And so around town, he was known as Awful Knievel. And so Knievel thought, oh, that's cool. So he decided to go with Evel Knievel, but spelled it differently because he didn't want people to think he was actually evil, just, play off the sound of the name. So
Awful awful.
yeah.
I like
So
it.
he dropped out of high school, got in trouble in a hubcap theft ring, and he was given the choice to go to the army or go to prison. Going to the army straightened him out a little bit, but when he got out, got married, got a job in the copper mines, worked his way up to driving the large earth movers. But unfortunately, I guess this is frowned upon. He was fired after making this giant earth mover do a wheelie like he was doing on his motorcycles. So
That's awesome.
yeah, that is the sort of thing I probably would try to do, but like just a little one, because I don't have the guts to like destroy this giant machine. But I would want to see if I could make it do a wheelie, probably. It didn't help also that when he did it, he drove into the main power line and left the city without electricity for hours. So that probably hurt those
Yeah.
job chances as well. So he's trying to find a way to survive. And then remember that show he saw and decided he was going to try to do something similar with a motorcycle. So he rented a venue, wrote press releases, set up a show, sold tickets. A few people showed up. It wasn't a huge thing. Did some wheelies, and then he jumped over a 20-foot long box full of rattlesnakes and 2 mountain lions. That was his very first show.
Hey, I got some rattlesnakes in the car. Let's see you jump these.
I want to know were the mountain lions with the snakes, like getting bitten by the snakes? Were they like free, or were they in cages? Like, I need to find a picture of this to see what the actual setup was. And how did you get the mountain lions in the first place? Just like
Bugs Bunny. It's like Bugs Bunny jumping over the alligator mouths as they come up and down.
So he landed short, back wheel hit the box with the rattlesnakes, but he managed to land anyways safely. Didn't make as much money as he had hoped. Wasn't, the claim to fame that he hoped, but it kind of got him moving. And so he found promoters, got a auto company that sold motorcycles and I think mostly recreational off-road vehicles to sponsor him. Came up and decided to promote it as Evel Knievel, and then he did his first vehicle jumping in 1966. This is the National Date Festival in Indio, California. I was wondering if that was like dates as in the fruit, or if there's another type of date festival. But again, did wheelies, crashed through some plywood that was on fire doing wheelies, and then jumped over 2. Yeah, well, I mean, if you can add fire, why not? And then jumped over 2 trucks. So at this point, he's starting to get recognized a little bit. But that was January 23rd. His next performance was February 10th. And so he was just back to back firing on these things. He attempted a new stunt. He was going to spread eagle over a speeding motorcycle, but he jumped too late and the motorcycle hit him in the groin, violently tossed him in the air, and he's in the hospital for a while after that injury. But he went back after he healed and did the stunt again. And
yeah, of course.
As I was reading through this, it struck me how often he was not successful in his jumps. Like, he was jumping, he went to a random show or some sort of thing in Vegas for the first time and saw the fountain and said, you know what, I want to jump that. And he tried to get the Wide World of Sports to come do a promotion, but they wouldn't. But they did accept the film later and play it. But that was the one where he jumped over, I think maybe clipped his back wheel or maybe went too far. It's the famous video of him falling head over the handlebars and like sliding across the cement.
Yeah.
Just wild that injury after injury, and he just kept coming back. And it sounds like he was an adrenaline junkie in the first place, like even as a kid, just thought that stuff was cool and fun. But the amount of, pressure to survive, maybe attention, wealth, and fame that he eventually got, looking at it, looked like maybe half the jumps, half the stunts he did, he just crashed and was seriously hurt. Yet kept coming back to it. And that's again what we're kind of getting with the Travis Pastrana Nitro Circus. Like they would show the setup and the process and the testing and things like that to show how they're preventing themselves from getting hurt. And it seemed like half the time he was just setting up and jumping and seeing what would happen. Like he had like a rocket motorcycle he tried to jump over. What was it? It was near I think it was the Snake River, maybe. It was in Idaho, and just fired off into this gorge. Like assumed it would work, but like didn't know if it was gonna work. It didn't. He survived, and like it crashed to the ground before. But like, just shocking that there was very little regard for survival compared to like the competing contingency of fame and fortune.
And you have to think after landing a few really good ones that like you either die a hero for having already accomplished them and doing what you love, or you'll make it and only make that much more money and fame and notoriety.
I was really expecting that to be one of those, like you live long enough to be the hero. No, you like what's the quote with the live to be the hero but become the villain or something like that. That's what I was expecting from that, and it didn't go that way. Like
I've never heard that quote.
I'm completely unfamiliar. Is this a Marvel movie?
I think it's Green Goblin. So Marvel technically yes, but Sony.
This was like one of those like Anchorman conversations, like when in Rome, and then we're both like, yes, go on.
Do as the Romans do. Is that what that is?
I've never heard
Love
that.
Anchorman. Baxter.
I'm in a glass case of emotion. So, ABC's Wide World of Sports collected like the top 20 most watched sporting moments of all time, and he was featured 5 times, including number 1.
Man,
some of his biggest feats: he jumped 50 stat cars in LA one time, and had a world record where he jumped 14 Greyhound buses in an amusement park in Ohio.
that's a wild thing to do.
Yeah, and I think
like front to back, right?
No, they were side to side. I thought.
Oh, okay. Yeah, front to back doesn't make sense.
They were buried, stacked on top of each other. It was just one bus, really, but no.
They were model buses, model toy cars.
I jump over cars and buses all the time in my house with the kids, leaving them around. But going back to like the crashes, it seems like after you had some fame, money, and success, that you would hire like some professional crews, maybe some mathematicians or some people that know physics real well, and just be like, all right, this is the speed you have to hit, this is the angle you have to hit. And it doesn't seem like he ever did that. And so it just shows you the competing punishment versus reinforcement, how powerful that can be when you're talking about fame, fortune, and surviving, really.
Like a true hold my beer.
Yeah.
You think he'd take a pull of whiskey before going?
I'm trying to remember. I do believe that one of the jumps, I think it was that one where he crashed in Vegas over the fountain. So the one that like made him really famous, even though it wasn't broadcast at the time. he went in, put all the money in his pocket on black or red. I don't know. I think it was black on the roulette table. Lost. Went to the bar, took a shot, went out, and then jumped the fountain and crashed. I
So if
believe
that
was
tells
the
you
story
anything,
that was on
guys,
his. Yeah.
Struck
don't
out that
drink and
day.
ride. Don't drink and ride. It's not worth it.
No. So that's those are the examples I had, but I don't know. I mean, you have everyday examples, like we said, like, and it does seem to be the more things are available to us, the less extreme they feel, you know, and so things have to be one up where, you know, as crazy as base jumping or cliff diving is, and I would never imagine jumping from 50 feet into the ocean. That just sounds like there's no way that's going to be enjoyable regardless. But seeing it on the Ocho every year doesn't really seem that extreme anymore. You know what I mean? It's you
Right.
have to do something really quite wild to become famous for being a daredevil. And so I think nowadays it really is much more about just the adrenaline, the attention from the people around you, and the wilder it seems, the more attention you get, or you find a group of lame guys like us who don't take chances like that, and then it all kind of seems pretty wild, you know?
And it's all contextual too. Like you can do something crazy, but if there's somebody online doing something more wild than that, then you now have to up your game in order for it to be relevant. Otherwise, you just did something that's not as cool.
Yeah. And somehow, sometimes it's a fine line between dangerous cool and dangerous stupid, you know? And
Yeah.
it seems to be that with the internet the way it is nowadays, you see much more internet stupid, and trying to find something that it's like, you know, dangerous cool is a little bit farther and fewer between, but maybe that's just
Yeah.
my view of the world too. I don't know.
The internet these days.
You can find
Yeah.
anything there.
Probably literally anything that you could dream up. So
I'm definitely gonna go watch a video of this tightrope walker. Tightrope walking is something I've never really thought about before. Maybe I'll take it up,
Go
or
yeah.
at
watch
least watch people do it.
go watch a video of Travis Pastrana too.
Oh yeah.
You'll be
There's only
impressed.
like 2 seasons of Nitro Circus, and they are worth watching. That tightrope rope walker, though, the only time there was any major catastrophe, it sounds like, was at one point while he was walking, the rope snapped, and he was fine. Like, maybe it must have been close to the edge or grabbed onto the rope and swung down or something. But the tower crashed and killed 2 people who were working on it as
Whoa,
like his assistants. And so it wasn't even he that was in danger, it was the others around him.
man! Of all people to die during that stunt,
Yeah.
that's wild.
So
Jeez,
Guess the safest spot was up on the rope.
it was the rope the whole time. Ah.
I just had like a Professor Plum in the study with the rope type thought right there. But all right, what crazy stunts are we gonna make Brad do now that we've had this episode? Any thoughts? Can't be height related.
He'll
Make him chat with somebody, strike up a conversation.
Just walk up to a
I'll be so
stranger.
sweaty. You'll see the beads of sweat just dripping.
Hi, I'm Brad.
She'll say, "Sir, why are you like sweating profusely? Like it's not that warm in here."
Yeah.
I'm being a
So
daredevil.
there's a call for all the ladies that are interested in dating Brad, since he's the single one on the show. You're gonna have to approach him. Just putting it out there. You probably have 20 stalkers after this episode, but you're welcome.
Yeah, by our thousands of listeners.
Or
There's at
we'll
least 5.
let's do an episode where we follow you, try to speak to women at the bar, and then we'll analyze both your behavior and their behavior
You guys are gonna be
live.
you're gonna watch it and be like, "This makes no sense. This is illogical."
Just gonna
why
walk up,
why is he busting
stumble.
out a yo-yo?
Walk up, stumble, crash through the table, spill the drinks, and just like quickly like, hot step it away.
I'm meat. It's nice to Brad you.
You guys are just gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah, there's nothing to be done here. This
like
is what we
I
define as a lost cause.
it's like
I'm
I would
excited for
analyze
this
this.
episode.
I would analyze this, but I'm so uncomfortable watching it that I can't. I can't relive it in order to provide an analysis.
It's like a train wreck. You can't look away.
Yeah. I don't do the cringe humor. It's just I can't do it.
I was trying to make it
Uh,
funny and like do it with just pure jokes to make it like that. I could. That's I don't have any issue in making a fool out of myself.
Yeah. Nope. Can't handle it.
I would have fun.
Yeah.
I've got to pick some kids up from jazz band.
Should you want me to actually end this here then? You want me to do the
Yeah,
ending,
got
or are
some
we
kids
just going
off
to
at
leave
the
it off?
pool.
You're going to cut me off this time.
Before the school calls me, probably should. I didn't realize what time it was.
Yeah. So I guess everybody stay safe out there. Find the things that you enjoy doing. If that is risking your life to make some people ooh and ah, or to feel the adrenaline rush, that's great. But just be careful, because you never know when that next hot air balloon might be driven by me and it might land on your head in traffic or something like that. So be careful out there and
Or on
enjoy the
your
little things.
freshly seeded grass.